Good. All right. Appreciate y'all covering our program in this game. Exciting opportunity for Tulane football, Tulane University as a whole. Been a great week of prep. Look forward to being able to represent this university and do this one more time with these guys and play in such an environment, such an awesome stage. So, with that, we'll open up to questions.
Edgar, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Coach.
Hey, Edgar, how are you, man?
I'm good. Good luck this week. I was going to ask you just real quickly. I'm over here in Gainesville, obviously. How are you kind of handling roster management, juggling all you are? I've been seeing the tweets. I mean, you're on like 2 hours of sleep right now. You look good. But how are you managing all that? I know you have Dave and others working on it, but you obviously want to be involved too.
Yeah, Edgar, Dave's there in the building in Gainesville. Brad White, Buster Faulkner, several people that are going to be a part of the staff are there, in the flesh day in, day out right now. I was there up until the very end of last week, trying to see as many guys as I could and also meet with staff. And then just on the phone, take as many calls and with families and players, trying to retain guys, and cast a vision for what 2026 at the University of Florida is going to look like, and which is really look if we're going to be a team that loves football, that works extremely hard, that's going to be really tough and blue collar, and so doing everything we can. Obviously, there's a financial component to all these guys' decisions too. That's different and unique than maybe the past. To some regard, I mean, there's been money involved probably forever, but now it's above the table, and so it's making sure those things are up there. That's where Dave's there. I'm not the financial guy. I'm the football coach. So if guys don't like the financial situation, I'm not the one doing the accounting. I want as many of those good players to stay as possible. Makes the job easier, and I think it's a special place with a bright future. And try to retain as many of those guys. I've been on the phone with several of them today, this morning before we practiced, and we'll be on the phone later today with plenty more.
How high a priority is Jaden Ball? I mean, obviously a lot of people are after him, and we saw what he did against Florida State in all season.
Yeah, I'd say he's extremely high priority. I mean, he's a proven player, a frontline player in the SEC. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. Would love to have the opportunity to retain him. It's one of the top priorities right now, and would love for him to stay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Chris Vanini.
Hey, John, how much do you look at the tape from the last game you guys played Ole Miss versus what they've done elsewhere? What, like, in terms of what you changed game plan wise from last time?
Yeah, you have to look at it because it's the same two teams playing, Chris. So we evaluate it. We look at maybe some of the things that went right, which weren't a ton, but more than anything, looked at missed opportunities that we had and try to help our guys understand we were in position at times, just got to make a certain play a little differently. And then there's some things too that was Trinidad's second game, so maybe how they've done some things offensively. There's more of that on video with him now as a quarterback. There was at that time. There was one real game on tape, the Arkansas game. We played them last time of what they were doing with him within the offensive system, and so we looked at it. It's a part of our breakdown because obviously both the teams are the same essentially, and so a lot of that they played well that day. We didn't play very good. We have to play better.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy.
Jordan Mendoza.
Hey, Coach. I know obviously this has been a very unique time for you, having the two jobs at the same time, but I wanted to ask, like, what have you seen from your team in responding to be able to focus on the task at hand while not being like very, with the distractions that possibly could derail, the preparation for what is arguably one of the biggest games in program history?
Yeah, these guys have been awesome, man. At the start of the season, I tell our teams all the time, good teams can be coach-led. Great teams have to be player-led. And to be very candid with you, at the beginning of this year, I thought we had a couple of really good player leaders, but I don't know that top to bottom this team was player-led yet. I feel like early in the season with 60 new players out of 116 on the roster, we as coaches had to do a little bit more in showing them the way and how to do everything from a detail standpoint. we're at the point that this is a player-driven team, and this is their team, and they've taken ownership of the team. And through all of this transitional stuff that may be going on in regards to what 2026 is going to look like, either for myself or for Tulane, our players have been amazing. I mean, they've been phenomenal in how they've handled it all. They've been a joy to be around every day. Man, just very, very impressed with their maturity, their focus, and their processing of all of this and their approach.
Tyler.
Hey, John, hope you're doing well. I was just curious about your quarterback a little bit. What makes him a unique talent on the field, and what have you seen from him ever since the last time he played Ole Miss? He seemed to bounce back really well.
Yeah, Tyler, Jake's a seasoned guy. You know, even though he was seasoned when he got here in late July, he had a lot to learn in regards to our offensive system, his teammates, his surroundings, the new environment. You know, that game that we played the first time against Ole Miss was about as awful of a passing game performance I've seen maybe ever. We really couldn't create separation. We were a little bit out of rhythm and not in very good time throwing and catching the football. It was bad, to be quite honest with you. Jake's responded anytime things haven't gone well. He's responded, and really our team has. And then a lot of times your team's going to follow the quarterback's lead. And Jake's a tough, resilient, competitive dude. Hadn't always played, maybe throwing the football the way he wants to, but he's found ways to get things done. And then as of late, I feel like we've thrown the ball more efficiently and more effectively. He understands his receivers better and who he's throwing the ball to. And I think he is more confident in what we're trying to get done within certain calls. But very proud of the way Jake has handled himself as this season's gone on, and he's really been a great leader for us.
Gary.
Hi, John. At the end of practice today, you had the little ceremony for Devin Walker. Now you were on the staff 13 years ago when he got injured. But what does he mean to you and to the program?
Yeah, Gary, appreciate the question. You know, Devin means a ton to this program. We carry out the 18 flag every game in his honor. You know, you can talk about family all you want, but that doesn't mean you live it. And we live it with Devin. Devin's forever Tulane football family. It's awesome. We on the way back here to do a team picture, because we don't do team picture during training camp. I don't like it. I like doing it in the postseason. Devin texted me when I came back. Great seeing you at practice today, Coach, RMFW. And so Devin is forever a Tulane family member with our football program. Our team understands his story, and man, the connectivity of what former players mean to a place matters. And so we love Devin, and we were able to present him with a jersey with the CFP patch, so he could be honored with our team today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sam.
Hey, John, given what you're juggling right now, I imagine you have a unique perspective on what the calendar looks like right now. If I gave you a blank slate to draw the calendar up how you would like it to be done, how would you do that?
Yeah, I'd probably move the season up. I'd probably start the first round of the CFP closer to conference championships, or maybe even a week before that. I would move the high school sign date back to later in December. Now that the transfer portal has been moved back. It's funny, we moved that high school sign date up because transfer portal was in December. Well, now that sign date got moved up, and then we moved the portal back. And so to me, the one question that's still kind of looming, I think, is we only got one transfer portal window, which I understand and I'm okay with. I wasn't one of the ones complaining about two windows as much. I mean, I'm good with whatever. But a lot of your guys that are grad transfers don't graduate till May. And so there's another caveat there. I'm okay with the concept of What I do like about the transfer portal being one time in January now is your team is set. So all of your team building connectivity things you're going to do in January, February, March, they're going to be more lasting because your whole team's there. But I think we could maybe move this season up a little bit earlier, start the CFP closer to conference championship weekend or the last weekend of the regular season, and try to end the college ball playoff with a national championship game closer to like New Year's. And then, with the portal opening the beginning of January now, if we played the championship game on New Year's Day, then it would be more of a clean transition for players. And I think the coaching movement would be a little cleaner as well.
Jordan.
Coach, there's been a lot of criticism about this format of the college football playoff, especially with the inclusion of the group of fives. And, you yourself, you had always said that, Tulane was going to get in the college football playoff. And I think one of the criticisms people have had is that you're playing a team that you already played against and lost. And so there's been, whether the group of five deserves to be in the field. But why do you think it is important, for the group of fives to be in this playoff field and have a shot at playing for a national championship?
Well, with the point of a team playing a team that they already lost to, Alabama's playing Oklahoma, right? I don't hear anybody whining about that. So let's cut that out from the jump. Then the other thing I would say is, look, I respect maybe wanting the top 12 teams, regardless of conference champion, whatever. I get that. I would like to see one G5 team in. I understand the gripe about, I do maybe understand the gripe about two to some degree. But the way they've set the rules up right now, it's the highest 5 ranked conference champions. That's the rule, correct? Well, we beat Duke, so we should be in if we're worried about the conference champion component. Now, if we're going to get rid of the conference champion component and you just go to the top 12 teams, that's a different conversation. But the ACC champion didn't beat us. We beat them. So I think the ACC versus American argument, we should be in.
Tyler.
John, maybe you answered this in your previous answer to my question about Jake, but what kind of gives you confidence that he can have a better outing this time around in Oxford?
He's a mentally tough dude. He's been through a lot of good and bad in his career. Tough times aren't going to break him. He's resilient. He's a battler. He's competitive. He's got some moxie about him. He doesn't back down. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's confident. He maybe sometimes borderline cocky, but I really respect his ability to pick himself up off the mat and go again. And that's how he's wired. So I have full belief that he'll be ready to give it everything he's got.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Edgar.
Yeah, Coach, I had one more for you. I can't see you though. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, I remember you as a player. I actually covered some Kentucky games. You can probably see from my gray here. But would you have hit the portal? And how, from coming from a different era, maybe a little more old school, how do you get your mind around how all this has shifted, where it's just become so transactional, and also just the fact that guys commit to schools and coaches, and I get there's a change here, but it's just nonstop now. I mean, it's happening constantly.
Yeah, would I have hit the portal, Edgar? Being a Florida guy down there, I would tell you, my redshirt freshman year, we were going to play in Gainesville, and I was on the travel list and got taken off the day before because we had an injured receiver and needed to take another receiver, not another defensive player. And I was kind of on the fringe of the travel roster at that time. And so didn't make the trip. And I was ready to hit the portal that didn't exist at that time and transfer back home to Alabama A&M. All right, because I got taken off the travel roster. But I had a dad who said, quit whining and get better and make yourself good enough they can't leave you off the travel roster. So I probably would have maybe on my own accord at some point, but grateful for a dad who wouldn't let me look for the easy way out. And then I think there's so many things at play. Look, I respect every guy's decision. I'm never going to belittle or demean a guy off of what decision he feels like he's got to make. Some guys make decisions purely based upon dollars. Some guys make decisions based upon opportunity. Some guys want to compete at the highest level, maybe conference wise. There's different decisions that get made. Darian Mensah, I'm still really close to this day. Darian left us last year. And, when guys leave for like a few dollars, I'm like, what are we doing? Darian got paid like probably 8 times more than we could pay him here, maybe more than that, maybe 10 times more than we could pay him here. So I think he made like about $4 million. So we probably could have paid him maybe 400, right? And so like that, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I get it. But when guys are making decisions based upon a little bit of money, that's not like completely life-changing. I think sometimes you have to help them see the reasons you may want to stick with a certain place, and everybody has to go through their own processes. So where we live in, I think we're pretty comfortable around here. We've shown that we've adapted well with getting crushed by the portal. We got 5 returning starters back on this year's team. I lost everybody to the portal, it felt like, last year. And so, but we're still here because this team is banded together, connected well together, and they fight really hard for each other. And they're very tough. They're blue collar. I don't know that we're the most talented team, but we're a team that's together and we fight.
Thank you for that.
Yep, thank you.
Chris.
Yeah, John, with Will taking over, what did he bring to you guys this year, and how do you feel about him taking over and moving forward?
Yeah, the addition of Will was great for me because he'd been in the head coach's chair, and I had nobody else on staff that had been an FBS Division I head coach. So sometimes when there's decisions to be made in this leadership role of being the head coach, that can be lonely. And there's also not maybe many people that can understand what you're going through. And so Will's been selfishly very helpful for me in that regard, to have another ear to talk to, or maybe a sounding board. And then he's been a phenomenal staff guy. He's providing help on our offensive stuff. That's been great. And I'm excited for him to have this opportunity here. This is a great place. Will worked here for Coach Fritz for a couple of years, and he's come back and worked for me. So he's seen sort of the most recent historical rise of this program, if you will, from maybe out of the ashes to being in 4 straight conference championship games. He's kind of seen the foundational build up for that, and now he'll get a chance to put his own spin on it. And I think he'll do really well.
And I know when he got let go last year at Southern Miss, he went to visit a lot of places, and he came by you guys. What was that like, and why did you ultimately decide to bring him onto the staff?
Yeah, so the Sunday that he got let go during the 2024 season, I texted him immediately when I heard the news. I just said, hey, holler if you need anything. Something good is right around the corner. Don't know what it is, but something good's coming for you. And we connected that day. He's like, hey, can I come watch practice? I'm like, yeah. He's like, when? I'm like, you can come anytime. You can come tomorrow. I think he was there the next day. Like, he drove down from Hattiesburg. We're only about an hour and a half away. And he was here. And then he was here again. And then again. And he just kind of kept showing up. And then when we had some staff movement last year, I thought this might fit to add him to the equation. And I thought he could add some value to what we were doing holistically. And so it worked out, and very seamless entry for him to come into this program. He'd been here enough times during the season last year. He was kind of already unofficially a part of what we were doing the last half of the season in some regard.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, last 2. We're going to go Sam and then Jordan.
John, I know you just mentioned you had to build a lot of this team out of the portal. You look at this field, some of the teams are heavily on guys that they've recruited. Some of them are heavily on guys that transferred. Do you think there's one ideal way to build a team, or what's your philosophy on building a roster?
Well, yeah, I think ideally you recruit high school players as the majority of your roster, and you develop those high school players and you retain them. That's the ideal way. But you're going to lose some guys here and there to transferring out. And then when you lose a player that transfers out, to me, the only way I think you replace a veteran experienced player is really with a veteran experienced player. So, like, we didn't lose Darian last year, amigo. Okay, I need to go sign another high school quarterback. because signing another high school quarterback wasn't going to help us get back here maybe as fast. Now, I think the foundational building of a program is still high school recruiting, developing those players, retaining those players. But I think you have to supplement your roster strategically through maybe the attrition you have at certain positions out of the portal. You got to use the portal. And then where you may have recruiting misses or laps or maybe some holes in your roster, you better backfill that with the portal to be competitive immediately. So that's sort of how I view it.
And a quick follow-up with regard to this job at Tulane, you obviously have been successful. Your predecessor was very successful. What is it about that place do you think has made it be able to sustain success over these last handful of years?
Yeah, I think it started after the 2-10 season in 2021. Like, I think a lot of people forget the year before the Cotton Bowl year here, this place was 2-10. Like, that's what maybe makes this 4-year run even more impressive. I think the collective here at that time was on the cutting edge. So they really banded together and decided Michael Arata, Jimmy Ordino, Kelly Camarda, those guys came together and started the collective. And I think they're on the cutting edge for this level. We're not the highest resourced G5 or G6 rev share number. Like, I see what South Florida's doing, what Memphis is doing. We're not maybe quite in that hemisphere, but we're competitive. And I think this place has made a commitment from a resourcing standpoint to give us an opportunity to be at least competitive. And then within that, this is a player's game. I think we're able to recruit and attract really good football players to Tulane, to New Orleans, and they've seen you can have great success here as a team and individually. And so I think it started to sort of sell itself, if you will.
All right, we're going to wrap up with Jordan.
Coach, was there ever a point in like the preseason where you felt like this team was really capable of making a college football playoff, or was it kind of something that matriculated at some point during the season? And when you kind of had that realization, like, how did you relay it to your players and staff about, like, we can really do this, but at the same time, not letting it, look too far ahead in the moment?
Yeah, I think we really put a lot of our time, energy, resourcing into being good at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And you felt that during spring practice, summer workouts, training camp. So anytime you're good up front, it gives you a shot. And I feel like we were good up front. I think we started 3-0 and we beat 2 P4s in Northwestern and Duke, which are both bowl eligible teams. And I thought, okay, I don't know how good Northwestern and Duke are at that time, but at least we can maybe be a middle of the road ACC team, maybe. And if we can do that, what can we do in our own league? Then we get our butts kicked by Ole Miss. And I'm like, well, maybe we're terrible. I don't know. And then we played awful against UTSA. I think most people probably wrote us off. I think our response to the UTSA loss the next week at Memphis, I knew this team was about to hit its stride. Like, I felt it. And when you have bad things happen in your season or even in your life and you respond the right way, man, that gives you hope. And so when I saw our response to the UTSA loss, that's when I was really like, okay, we're about to get rolling here, I think. So that was kind of probably the moment where I felt like cemented, we got a chance to make a run at this thing, was the Memphis game.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, thank you for your time.
Appreciate y'all. Roll Wave.
Appreciate it.